The smooth operation of the American presidency hinges not just on the person in the Oval Office, but on a singular, often overlooked figure, the White House Chief of Staff. This role, which evolved into its modern, powerful form under Richard Nixon, functions as the president's ultimate gatekeeper, scheduler, disciplinarian, and frequently, co-pilot. The story of these gatekeepers is a backstage drama of power, crisis management, and personal influence that reveals how the highest office in the land truly functions. Before this system was formalized, presidents like Lyndon B. Johnson became mired in administrative chaos, personally handling correspondence and appointments. Nixon, determined to avoid such inefficiency, empowered H.R. Haldeman to control access and information flow. This created a necessary buffer but also concentrated immense power in one unelected aide. Haldeman's rigorous system set a new standard, though it could not ultimately contain the paranoia that led to Nixon's downfall. The model, however, was now entrenched. In the wake of Watergate, Gerald Ford needed order and turned to the fiercely organized Donald Rumsfeld. Rumsfeld, with his deputy Dick Cheney, imposed strict discipline, controlling the president's schedule and information with military precision. Yet, even the most efficient gatekeeping could not prevent presidential missteps, such as Ford's disastrous debate gaffe about Soviet influence in Eastern Europe. A last-ditch staff reshuffle, promoting Rumsfeld to defense and Cheney to chief of staff, failed to salvage the election, demonstrating that good management cannot always override political reality. Jimmy Carter entered office distrustful of the gatekeeper model, preferring a loose circle of advisors and taking on many managerial duties himself. This philosophy, combined with external crises like the Iranian Revolution and the hostage crisis, led to an overwhelmed and dysfunctional White House. By the time Carter reluctantly appointed a formal chief of staff, it was too late to rescue his presidency, proving that rejecting the gatekeeper structure could be as perilous as appointing a bad one. Ronald Reagan's presidency showcased the gatekeeper's potential as a force multiplier. His first chief of staff, James Baker, acted as a skilled co-president, leveraging a wave of public sympathy after an assassination attempt to push through controversial economic policies. Baker's pragmatic savvy was so crucial that he even convinced the ideologically rigid Reagan to raise taxes to correct a recession. The dangers of a poor fit were equally clear when Baker swapped jobs with Treasury Secretary Don Reagan. Lacking political deftness, Reagan presided over the Iran-Contra scandal, a disaster that later chiefs of staff had to contain, highlighting how the wrong person in the role can catalyze catastrophe. For George H. W. Bush, the gatekeeper became a political liability. His first chief of staff, John Sununu, used early successes to mask an arrogance that alienated the staff and cabinet. When scandal erupted over his misuse of government aircraft, he had no allies left to defend him. His replacement, Samuel Skinner, struggled to impose order on a faltering re-election campaign, illustrating that a chief of staff's failure could directly contribute to a president's premature exit. The narrative continues through subsequent administrations, each grappling with the same fundamental tension. The chief of staff must be both an enabler and a restrainer, a loyalist and a truth-teller. They manage the flood of people and problems demanding the president's attention, ensuring the executive remains focused on strategic goals rather than drowning in daily minutiae. Their unseen hand shapes policy, controls messaging, and often determines who gains the precious ear of the most powerful person in the world. Ultimately, the history of these gatekeepers teaches a compelling lesson about power. Its exercise at the highest level is never a solo performance, but a complex duet between the principal and the person who guards the door.